If you've ever wondered how you can heal your emotional wounds, this video is for you. For the best empowerment tips that help you live your soul purpose every day, click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notified when I upload new content every Wednesday. Hi, beloved. My name is Tamala Malay, your empowerment partner, and I've worked over 1,200 hours directly with individuals to help them shift, clear, release, and heal emotional wounds, patterns, paradigms, and codependencies, and I can help you too. So here are the simple steps that you can go through to help you heal emotional wounds. Step 1, acknowledge that the emotional wound exists. And this seems really simple, right? But this is the primary place that people get stuck. They refuse to acknowledge. They allow themselves to ignore what they're actually feeling or thinking or experiencing because it's too upsetting. There may be some trauma around it. It may be uncomfortable for them. And so step 1 has to be acknowledging that the emotional wound exists. To do that, all you have to do is drop into your heart space, and I will link a video at the end that shows you how to drop into that heart space if you have not done that before. But you drop into your heart space, and you acknowledge this wound. You acknowledge this feeling that you have that feels like a wound. It may be a scar. It may be an open wound. It may be an infected wound. It could be any of those ranges, but acknowledging that it exists is the first process, is the first step in this process. Now, step 2, while you're still in this heart space, acknowledge that it has been useful for you. And I want to stop right here because if you are still being triggered by this particular emotional response, you may get triggered by me telling you that it has been useful for you. And I want you to understand that you need to take a couple of deep breaths and open to the possibility that the experience has brought something into your life that has made you stronger, has made you more educated or more intellectual about the experience, that has made you understand the human relationships differently, that has allowed you to have a different life experience that you would not have had otherwise. And what we're looking for are the positive aspects of that different life. So take a few moments, take as long as you need in this heart space, and you may want to journal around this. Acknowledge, write everything that you need to write down to acknowledge that it exists. Write down everything that you need to write down to acknowledge that you have some changes in your life experiences because this thing was in your life experience. And once you have done this second step, we'll move on to step 3. Step 3 is to thank it for its service. So you've acknowledged that it exists, you acknowledge that it has been useful in your life, and now you're going to thank it and give it real, genuine gratitude. And this is likely to come with a great deal of emotion, because emotion for us, we hold it in our bodies, we hold it in our emotional energy field, and it stays there until it has the opportunity to be expressed in a positive way. And so as you're making this acknowledgement that it's there, this acknowledgement that it has been useful for you, and the acknowledgement that you're grateful for it, the feelings of gratitude, the feelings that need to be released around this process, whatever it was for you, have the opportunity to go and leave your experience. And that is one of the most powerful parts of this process, is really offering gratitude to this experience. But you cannot offer genuine gratitude until you've thoroughly done the first two steps. So you can't shortcut any of this. Comment below and let me know how you feel about thanking this for being part of your experience. Let me know how it feels to offer this experience gratitude. Now that you've moved through the first three steps, now you get to really shift into the releasing mechanism. You've acknowledged it, it's been heard, you have appreciated what is different in your life, and you have offered it gratitude for the changes that you have experienced. And now we're actually going to release. So step 4 is the I don't need you anymore goodbye step. So now it's time to accept the healing around this particular emotional wound. So you have acknowledged that it exists. You have acknowledged that it was useful. You've offered it gratitude for how your life is different because of it. And now we are going to do the I don't need you anymore goodbye. And so what you do is you call this experience into this heart space, and you have already acknowledged it, you've listened to it, you've journaled around it potentially, you have journaled around how it was useful in your experience, you have offered it gratitude for how your life is different in a deep and meaningful way. And now you can say, I understand why you were here. I acknowledge that I get the message now, and I don't need you anymore. Goodbye. And as you are saying, I don't need you anymore, it's really important for you to mean it. And it's really important for you to offer yourself some kind of ritual. That could be a visualization of it leaving and being carried in the arms of the angels. It could be dumping it on a cloud. It could be seeing it dissolve and dissipate. It could be seeing it filter into the earth to be absorbed. It can be anything that is appropriate for you, but it is important for you to see it, feel it, sense it in some way, shape, or form, that it is no longer part of your experience, because you are literally letting this go. And in the letting it go, you have to have some kind of third dimensional visceral experience of that. So don't skip this step. Step 5 is to allow yourself to believe that you really have let this go. That's why step 4 is so important for you to have that visceral experience. If you don't have the experience and the feeling in your physical body, in your mental body, in your emotional body, that you really have let this go, then it's going to continue to stay in your energy field. And so you want to do the actual releasing and letting go. And then you want to give yourself the belief, the understanding, the wisdom, and the knowledge that it is no longer part of who you are anymore. From this moment on, it doesn't exist for you. Step 6 is going to help us embody more of what that releasing means. So we believe that it is no longer part of our experience. So now we need to go into that heart space and say, how do I feel differently now that this is not part of who I am? And you're going to journal around this. And there's going to be lots of opportunities for you to go back into those old paradigms, those old perspectives, those old patterns. And instead you want to go, nope, that doesn't exist for me anymore. This is who I am now. And how does it feel to be this person without all of that? And you want to write it down because it's going to be really, really important for you to go back and visit how it feels now not to have this in your experience. And we're going to talk about why in the next step. Step 7 is to commit to your mental and emotional discipline around this really being gone. And that's why you want to have it written down how it feels so that you can come back to it when you forget. Because remember, as humans, we are creatures of habit, right? We have these patterns that we do over and over and over and over and over, and most of them are subconscious or unconscious. And we forget, we ignore, we don't pay attention. And this process of healing an emotional wound requires at least 21 days of your mental and emotional discipline, because science has proven it takes us up to 21 days to create a new habit. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a new habit of thinking, a new habit of feeling. You're not going to go back into those old thoughts and emotions that were attached to that emotional wound. Those thoughts and emotions are still going to be there because it is the pattern of your thoughts and emotional processes. And so what you're doing is you're reprogramming your thoughts and emotions to believe that it's no longer part of your life. And so some people say, well, I'm brainwashing myself. We brainwash ourselves all the time. Everything we think and everything we feel is something we have accepted as true for us. And in order for us to change what is true for us, we have to go through all of these 7 steps. We have to acknowledge it exists. We have to acknowledge it was useful. We have to offer a thank you or gratitude to it for how our life is different without it. Then we have to shift into releasing it and doing the I don't need you anymore, thank you, goodbye. And then moving into our personal responsibility of making sure that we believe that it doesn't exist for us anymore, that we have feelings, we can feel what it feels like to not have it in our experience anymore. And then we need to change our thoughts and emotions because it doesn't exist for us anymore. And when we do these 7 steps, that is how we change our lives. That is how we change our experience. It's how we change our emotions, how we change our thoughts. It's how we heal our past and we move towards our future. It is the fundamental way that the law of attraction helps us move from wounding into liberation. And it helps and it works 100% of the time. I've used this with more than 1,500 clients. I've had 1,200 direct sessions with individuals where we have used these techniques in one way or another so that we can clear and release these without having to do 15 years of therapy to get through. It's not needed anymore. As we're moving towards the idea of the 5th dimension, where we are in divine sacred partnership and divine union, where all beings are equal, we are being called to clear out everything that no longer serves us. And so in couples counseling, in individual counselings, in group counselings, all of these different types of patterns come up no matter what we're working on. We could be working on relationships, on money, on our sex life, on our safety, on our emotional boundaries, on working with the people in the real world when we're empaths, on anything. This technique is used for every single feeling, emotional wound that you have. Now, it also translates and can be used for mental patterns or mental wounds that you have as well. So let me know in the comments if this has been useful. Also, make sure that you check out the Love Warrior Prayer, and I'll put that in the description below, because it is a really powerful prayer that we can use to impact the bigger emotional wounds, the more impactful emotional wounds. And it also is a step through process that will help you be able to pray in the most empowered way, where you can offer the, I don't want to say correct, but the more aligned energies to what it is that you want to have in your personal life, in your family life, in your career, in your government, in your communities on the planet. And so make sure you download that in the description. Also, if you want more empowerment tips, join the Facebook group at Your Empowerment Party, and I'll also put that link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you can watch future videos. And if you want to get notified, click the bell, because it will send you a notification when I upload new content every Wednesday.